Okay guys, so I've still got my plate with my yellow paint on it, and I'm gonna grab a couple more colors. And you know, I was thinking about it, I really don't think it matters whether you paint this inside circle, the dark part first, or you know, before the petals, or if you paint it on after the petals. It actually really doesn't matter. But I thought what I would do is I would start with that green center and put that down in the middle, and then do petals and then come back to the middle. So you kind of always have to have a strategy. So the first thing that I did off camera, I've got this is what I'm going to be painting on, and I decided that I really like the bottom design. So this is the one that I'm using for my demonstration. And so I trimmed it, and I have it positioned in there, but I don't have it taped yet. So decide how, you know, where you want it height-wise and where you want it, you know, left and right. It should fit really just about right. I've got myself 4 little pieces of tape over here on the edge of my table. And honestly, this is the hard part, is just getting the thing taped in there. You know, and getting it in a position that you like. So I think I kind of have it. I would say put a few pieces of tape in there. You know, and of course, keep in mind, you want to be able to see the design, you know, from the front and the back. And you know, who knows, maybe you're going to do this and you're not even going to use it as a cup that you drink out of. It's totally up to you. Or a glass that you drink out of. A lot of people wind up doing these and then they don't even use them. They're so pretty, they just want to put them on a shelf and show them off, and that's okay. One thing I will say though is you don't want to leave these soaking ever. Now I just realized that I needed to kind of untape and push it against the glass a little bit better, and it's not going to press right up against the glass the whole time, but try and get it pretty close. All right, now for my color, I want to first do I think I'm going to paint them basically like this one, and there's just a little bit of green in there. So I've got my yellow. I'm going to grab some lime green and put just a tiny little dot of that out on my plate. This one's almost empty. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll just take paint out of the lid like this. You know, get myself a tiny little bit out of the lid. Putting that on my plate. Oh, you guys can't really see what I'm doing there, sorry. So I've got a little bit of green, maybe I need a little bit more. Like I said, don't put too much paint out at once, because it dries. And I'm just gonna take a little bit of my yellow, mix it with my green, come up with a yellow green that I like, and I'm gonna put that in the middle of all of these. And I'm just gonna do these little dotty strokes. And like I say, it's gonna feel like it's wiping right off. It's very thin. The first coat is like nail polish. It's just not going to really give you coverage right away. You have to build up your layers. But don't worry, it happens, they build up pretty quick. Second coat, you'll see a huge difference. So I'm just painting this green shade right in the middle, this yellow green shade, right in the middle of all of those circles. And then I'm gonna leave that alone and let it dry. So now I've got myself a paper towel that had water in it. I'm gonna just be careful that I wipe this color off on the dry part of the towel so that I don't get the bristles wet. And now what I wanna do is start painting in some petals. And like I said before, I wanna make myself a yellow orange, so I'm gonna grab my lipstick red, put a tiny dot of this out on my plate. Probably don't even need that much. And I didn't even rinse my brush. I know I wiped it out pretty good. So I'm just gonna mix a little bit of red into that yellow. I probably used too much. Probably used a little too much. That's okay, I'm gonna get more yellow. There we go. And let's mix all that together. So be careful with how much red you add. You really just want a yellow orange. You don't want it, you know, too strong. I'm gonna twirl some of this off of my brush because it's a little too loaded. Remember, we don't want too much loaded onto our brush, just, you know, like that. And then I'm gonna come and grab my cup. Remember, you don't wanna get your hand oils all over the thing. So I like to actually put my hand inside of the mug and hold it like this. And then I'm just gonna try and find a comfortable way to lay my arm flat, either against my lap or against a table. And like we did before, we're just gonna paint some petals. And sometimes you can just do them as single strokes. I would probably do all of the petals this way. And I would go ahead and really go ahead and let the petals go all the way into the center. You know, I'm letting the paint go into the center part. I'm going to cover the center part up with my brown anyway later on. So I'm going to keep turning this as I go, changing the angle of my view, because it is a little bit distorted in the glass, but that's okay. Just doing little swipes. Try holding the brush so that it's 90 degrees for those little tips of the petals. I don't even know, are those crickets that I'm hearing out there? I don't even know what I'm hearing out there. All right, so there's my first one. And then I'm gonna do the same thing to all of these other ones. And you know, you decide for yourself whether you like to paint from the outside petal in or from the inside out. See what works for you. You know, we're all different. These petals just go on with a nice single stroke. Once you get yourself going, they go on really quick. Try to make them varied. You can twist your brush a bit, twist your brush a little bit. Try and get just the tip of the brush every now and then for a nice tiny point on the tip of a petal. Remember not to put too much paint on your brush. After a while, it's easy to get really going and start globbing it on. I've seen that so many times. Don't glob it on too thick. Take your time. There's two. And I like the way these are gonna dance all the way around. If you press down and then pull up the pressure as you get to the tip, then you know you want variation. You want to have a little bit of different directions that the petals are going in, and you want some to be kind of folded over and some to be spaced out a little bit and all of that. You know, always think about variation and direction in your paintings, no matter what you're painting. Okay, so there's that one. And it, you know, it is hard to see. You can't really tell exactly what it looks like, but we will be able to tell soon enough, don't worry. And I will say, I always loved teaching these classes because everybody was much more laid back with glass painting. People are not as afraid of it. Isn't that funny? Even though it's actually a little bit harder, to be honest. Well, it just depends. I just think it's less intimidating to people. A lot less intimidating. So this is a really fun activity to do, really for any occasion. Right now we're in the stay-at-home order, and I can't even imagine any occasions anymore. I tell you, it's been so long. But I'm sure someday, again, we will all be socializing and having parties. And this would be a really fun party to throw. So, okay, that's my first layer. And then really quick, before I end this video, I'm gonna go ahead and paint in the center of my daisy. I'm gonna use this red and this green, right? Red and green are gonna give me a very harmonious brown that I can use in the center of all these flowers, right? So I mixed my red and my green together, and I got that brown right there. It looks a lot darker on camera, I don't know why. And then I'm just gonna come in here and start dotting that on like this around the centers of all of my sunflowers. Again, if you've got too much of a glob, these are just little like dots and dashes, these brush strokes. You don't really want to go over those yellow petals too much. You're just getting your first layer of your brown down. So just keep turning it so that you can actually see what you're doing, and so that your arm and your body is comfortable. Don't rush. If you're pushing the paint off, you're pressing too hard, and maybe it's just too wet, and you can just wait and do the brown later in a few minutes after it's gotten a little drier. But that's basically it. You know, it's going to get easier because we've got our first layer down. Hard to mix with one hand. All right, I'm just about there. With getting my brown centers done. And I really love how these flowers show that lime green in the center. And I can always layer more lime green back on top again, so don't worry about that. All right, so that's it. And let's see real quick, if I pull off, I don't even think I need the design in there anymore. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull that off. And looky, ooh. Well, you can't really see it because of the brown table, but there you can kind of see it, right? So it's not opaque enough, but we're going to fix that. We're going to do more layers. Just give it time, and I'll see you on the next video.